In my last Sub 37 tutorial, I explained how to take advantage of the Sub's unique duo mode combined with the arpeggiator to emulate playing both chords and melodies at the same time. It got me thinking about what other dark arts duo mode could be useful for. The Sub 37 can be a rather gritty sounding synth. Running different frequencies on the two oscillators, especially with their mixer levels way up, can definitely increase the grunginess. So, grunge plus the ability to play two notes simultaneously equals electric guitar power chords, or at least some sort of approximation. Let's also see how close we can get to an electric guitar sound when playing this patch as a lead as opposed to power chords. We'll do all of this without using any external effects, or it wouldn't be any fun. First, select an available newly initialized patch that we can work on, and where you can save the EGuitar patch when done. Let's go from left to right. The arpeggiator isn't important in this case, so you can set it however you like later on. For now, let's turn it off. Do the same with glide. I found a time value of 2 with type set to LCT sounding fine, but again, let's turn it off for now. I find that this patch sounds best in the default keyboard octave and also one octave above that. For modulator 1, set the LFO rate to 12 and the source to triangle. The pitch amount should be just above 0, and this should affect both oscillators. Set the filter amount and modulator amount to 0. We'll tie this modulator to aftertouch so we can get a little vibrato without reaching over to the mod wheel. Press the modulator 1 controllers button and use the digital programming menu to achieve this. Modulator 2 should look identical to modulator 1, but you can increase the pitch amount just a hair. We'll bind this modulator to the mod wheel so you can call upon just a bit more vibrato when required. Press the modulator 2 controllers button and again use the digital programming menu to make this setting. Moving on to the oscillators, we're somewhat ironically going for tame waveforms, setting both of them to 8 feet and triangle. For modulator 2, let's set keyboard control to high and of course turn duo mode on. Finally, the value for both frequency and beat frequency should be 0.5. This slight frequency variance will cause an interesting detuning and phasing effect, which you can alter by trying different values for beat frequency. In the mixer section, we're going to turn both oscillator 1 and oscillator 2 all the way up to 10. We're not going for careful gain staging here. However, I don't like a lot of sub for this patch, so let's only turn it up to 1.2. We'll add a tiny bit of noise for good measure, setting it to 1.1. Feedback gets turned all the way up. This is at the very core of this patch as it creates massive amounts of distortion when feeding the mixer output right back into the mixer. You can truly start hearing the clean and mellow flute-like sound of the triangle waves radically change once you approach and pass 7 on the feedback knob. Please watch your output level when turning up feedback. Finally, make sure that everything in the mixer section is turned on. Let's leave the filter at 20 kHz so we can hear all the upper end screaming of this patch. Resonance should be at 0 and multidrive at 4.2, which will beef the whole thing up even further. Again, please watch your output level. You might be tempted to crank up the multidrive distortion all the way, and please feel free to do so. However, I found 4.2 to be a nice sounding spot. We're going to turn both envelope generator amount and keyboard track to 0. The last section is the amplitude generator where we set the ADSR. I like a very short attack for this patch. Let's set it about 1 mark below 10. Decay can be turned all the way up to 10 seconds. Let's dial in a sustain of 1.5 and a release 2 marks below 1. This will give us a nice relatively slow fade out when holding notes. Finally, let's turn on multiple triggering to ensure the envelope is re-triggered with each key press. You're now ready not to pretend you're a guitar player, but to show the world that the analog Moog Sub 37 can wail with the best of them without running it through a guitar amp or other silly things. Adding an external delay to the EGuitar patch makes it even more fun to play. Try out some power chords and play a melody, occasionally adding that second note and pitch bending the whole mess. Turn on a drum machine and you might sit there jamming for a while. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate your likes, follows, and subscribes.